Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Modesto Junior College. My name is Brian Justin Marks. I am the Associate Dean of Campus Life and Student Learning. It is my pleasure to welcome you here for an exciting series that we kick off tonight, our Positive Speaker Series. One thing we've noticed in our community and our campus is there tends to be a lot of focus sometimes on what we don't have or what we're missing from the world or what we're not capable of doing. And we aim to kind of highlight to our student body and to our community the ability to overcome obstacles, to push forward in a positive way. Each speaker selected for this series is somebody who has faced a series of challenges in their life and yet been able to overcome those barriers and obtain their academic goals on the way to achieving better goals in life. So we hope that you enjoy it. On the way in, you got a list of all of our speakers. So after our winter break, we'll resume in February with 2 speakers there, 1 speaker in March and 1 speaker in April, and we'll continue the series all next year. So we hope you enjoy it and continue to come and spread the word into the community and on campus. With that, I don't want to give too much away for her presentation, but I want to introduce a lady who has taken several tragedies in her life and several mishaps along her journey and turned them into a positive example of what we can overcome in life and how we can make positive choices and an impact on our campus and our community. This young lady's been speaking on our campus now for about 5 or 6 years and has had an impact on thousands and thousands of students and has many students still reaching out to her, and she's inspired many, so hopefully she'll be able to do the same for you. So with that, I'd like to introduce Miss Joanna Murillo Beaver. Come on up.
Hi, thank you, Brian. Thank you, MJC, for having me. How are you guys doing tonight? Good, thank you all for coming. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you my story. The title is It Could Happen to You. Normal life. Growing up, I thought I had a good life. Sometimes I acted like a brat. Of course, I think all kids do. I lived with both of my parents. I had an older sister. I was the middle child and had a younger sister. We were always involved in family activities. At a young age, I wanted to dance. I wanted to be a cheerleader. My parents provided enough so that I could do those activities. My sisters were involved in sports, soccer, volleyball. Parents would drive us every which way to get to where we needed to get to. I have a lot of family, a lot of cousins. We're all really close family. So like I said, at a young age, I started doing dance and cheerleading. I continued that. I did competition cheer. I cheered for the high school that I went to, Johansson High School. When I was in high school, I knew that I wanted to continue cheering as well as continuing with my academics. So I was accepted to California State University, Stanislaus and Turlock, but they did not have a cheer team. So I had to take a couple classes here at MJC in order to cheer here at MJC while I was taking classes at Stan State as well. When I completed the 2 years of cheerleading here at MJC, there wasn't a team at Stan State, so I helped to start a team. We didn't have a football team, so we could only cheer for football. And at that time, too, the soccer team wanted us to go cheer for them, so we would go do that as well. Also, at a young age, I knew what my life goal was going to be, what my dream was. I learned that nursing was a field where you can help people. I learned from a friend's mom who worked in labor and delivery that you can work any part of the hospital. There's so many different places that you can work as a nurse. She told me that she worked in labor and delivery. The moms coming in a lot of pain, she would help them through it, and at the end they'd have a baby. You know, there are some cases where it doesn't all work out, you know, as happy as can be, but that is a pretty much happy place for the most part. So I knew that I wanted to work labor and delivery. I knew that I wanted to help people. Even if I had to just start somewhere small or start at a nursing home, start somewhere, I knew that I wanted to become a nurse. I wanted to be a registered nurse. I wanted my name to say Joanna Murillo, RN, BSN. I wanted it all. And I knew that I wanted it by a certain age. I wanted to have all this done by the time I was 24, 25 years old, get married, have a house, have 6 to 10 kids, and I would be able to afford it. That's what my dreams, that's what my goals were. I even had them all written down. And then when I was in high school, I did pretty good. I was involved in the college prep and some of the pre-AP classes. So I got into Pistan State. And I was taking classes again here at MJC as well. I was also having a really, really good time. I was partying with a lot of the basketball players, a lot of the soccer players. I just thought it was part of what you did in college. You know, all the movies that they show you, the kids, they wake up, put on sweatpants, put on sweatshirt, throw their hair up, no makeup, nothing, just show up to class after a good night of partying. I thought it was just part of what college kids did. I was getting okay grades. In high school, I got A's and B's. There were a couple times where I just didn't do well and maybe got a C here and there, and that freaked me out. Well, now in college, everybody was throwing it out there, C's get degrees. So for me, it was not that big of a deal to push forward and try to get all straight A's. However, by the time it came for me to apply for the BSN programs, the Bachelor's of Science in Nursing programs, it was not looking good. I did not have straight A's. I had all my classes completed. I had everything done, but I kept getting denial letter after denial letter after denial letter. And I was thinking, what's wrong with me? What's going on? And then every time I'd go to talk to somebody, they would say, you don't have straight A's. This was back in 2004 when we needed nurses. There was a nursing shortage. Everybody was going to get into the nursing program. So other people were getting picked in front of me. Once I started getting those letters, I knew that I wanted to become a nurse. I wanted to become a registered nurse, but I knew that there were other ways that could possibly help me. So I started applying to licensed vocational nursing programs, LVN programs. And I did. I finally got accepted. There weren't any programs around Modesto area where I could go. So I applied to Sacramento, San Francisco, even some places in LA. I was too scared to move to LA. My family is so close. So I finally got into the program in San Francisco. So my family, they helped me to get over there, move over there to San Francisco, getting into rent a house, helped me to get loans to pay for everything. My family, they pushed me to keep going, to become a nurse. You're gonna be a nurse, go for it, go follow your dreams. I took advantage of it. And thought, okay, I'd go over there and get my LVN license. It was a year program. Once I was done, I was going to try to take an online LVN to Bachelor's of Science in Nursing program. And I thought, that'll be good. So then by the time that happens, right now I'm 22, I'll be 24, 25 when I'm in that program. Might be a little bit later, but my dreams and my goals will be completed. When I moved to San Francisco, I was very, very homesick. When I was in high school, I did suffer from some depression. I had a hypoactive thyroid, so it made me really down, really blue, and I was taking medication for that. But as I was getting into college, partying, having fun, I really wasn't taking care of my health, my mental health. So when I was there in San Francisco, I got a little depressed. I would come home all the time. I would drive home all the time, come see my family, come visit, party on the weekends with my friends and family here. I would just keep drinking. And when I drank, it wasn't just a couple beers. It was to get drunk. And I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. It was just, I was just being young, having fun, having a good time. Well, about 6 months into the program, I started getting comfortable with a lot of the students in the class with me. And after one of the big tests, they all decided they were gonna go out to have a drink. So I said, okay, I'll go out with you guys. And so we had a designated driver, and we went out and had a couple drinks. More than a couple drinks, but we had a good time. So then it started becoming a habit. After any test, after completing an assignment, it started happening more frequently, even throughout the days, throughout the weekdays. So we would go hang out, party, have a good time. I thought, these kind of people are good people, and I was still getting straight A's. And we had a committee, and I was the president of the committee there. I was still involved. I got straight A's in the program. I did very well. So I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with it. And there were times where I would have something to drink and would drive, but I would say, I'm okay. That's usually what people say. I'm okay. I'm okay. Just, never got caught. So the program was 1 year, and it began October of 2006. So October of 2007 was coming up. We were talking about what we were going to do for graduation. So it was our last day of clinical, our last day of class, and it was during the week, and we were going to have our graduation on the Sunday coming up that week. And so we completed our clinicals, completed our classes. We were all ready to go, all done. So everybody decided we were going to go out. And it was October 31st, 2007. What's October 31st? Halloween. So we all went out to go get some costumes. We got some costumes. I had a French-made costume. At that time, I had gained a lot of weight, just constantly drinking, eating, everything. But I still thought I looked okay. So I got myself a French-made costume, the little skirt and, just showing everything up here. So I thought I looked okay, looked cute, and I thought, we'll go out, have some drinks, have a good time, and then we'll have our graduation on that Sunday. So I was getting ready at home, and during the day, one of my classmates, Chris, had said, I'll drive your car. He said, I'll be the designated driver. We'll get a couple people in there. We'll drive your car here, and then we can just go to class in the morning. And I thought, okay, that sounds good to me. So I was getting ready in my apartment, I rented a room in a house, and my roommates came in and they're like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Come out with us. And I said, well, I'm going out with the students from my class. We're gonna have a good time. It's our last day of clinicals. And they said, okay, well, be safe, but we'll be here if you want to meet up with us. And so I was getting ready, and Chris called me and said, hey, I can't drive your car. I'm going to meet you out there, and then I'll drive your car back. And we'll bring, there were a couple other people, we'll bring them back with us, and we'll just crash there at your house, and then we'll go to clinicals in the morning, or go to the last meeting for class the next day. And so I drove to downtown San Francisco, and I parked right in front of this club where we were meeting, or bar. It was called the Dirty Martini, and I could see the entrance where I was at. And I had a phone, and I was text messaging. My brother-in-law was texting me, asking what I was up to, and I told him that I was meeting up with some of the students in the class, and we were gonna party for Halloween. And then I told him, I love you guys. I'll see you guys, on Sunday when you come for the graduation. And he sent me a picture of a little puppy in his hand, and it was a little Chihuahua. And he said, here's your new niece, Ruby. And so I saw the picture, and I said, oh, she's so cute. I can't wait to meet her. And he said he would bring her on Sunday for the graduation, and I can meet her then. Well, we went in to the club. I saw everybody walking up, so I walked in with everybody. There were a couple guys with us, and they were buying us shots and buying us beers and drinks, and we were dancing, having a good time. I remember a guy dressed like Elvis, and he stood by me at the bar, and he's like, hey, you want a drink? And he bought me a drink, and the next thing I remember is being handcuffed to a bed in a hospital, in a gurney bed in the hospital, with a brace around my neck, blood everywhere, screaming, what's going on, what's happening? I get flashbacks of a scene, being out in the road somewhere, my feet hurting, being in a lot of pain. I get flashbacks of that. I hear a CHP yelling, why'd you do this? What are you doing? How stupid? How could you do this? Why are you doing this? I remember just screaming and crying, not knowing what's going on, and the nurses are asking me, what happened? What do you remember? And I just said, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. And I was handcuffed to the bed. I had never been in trouble in my life. I had a clean record. I had never had a ticket. I had a warning one time for having my seatbelt under here because the way that my shirt was fitting, I didn't want to put it over here, so I had it under here, and I got pulled over, and he gave me a warning for that. Never did it again. The nurses called home. I was out in San Francisco, and of course my parents live here in Modesto, and the nurses called home to call my parents at 2 in the morning to tell them your daughter has been involved in a car accident. Not knowing much more, not knowing anything else, so they got up and drove from Modesto to San Francisco at 2 in the morning to go see what's going on, to see if their daughter's alive, to see how bad this is. When they got to the hospital at San Francisco, the officers would not let anybody come in. There was the officer at the door, and they said, you were under arrest. And I just kept thinking, wake up, you gotta wake up, wake up. It was like I was in a nightmare. Under arrest. And an officer came in, and while he came in, one of the nurses went out and said, she's okay, she's under arrest. Didn't give my parents much more information, and an officer came in and he said, do you know what happened? Do you know what's going on? And I just kept saying, I don't remember. And he said, well, you are under arrest and there are 15 counts against you. And he said that they received a phone call, several phone calls, that there was a wrong-way driver on the freeway in San Francisco who had gone up the exit onto oncoming traffic. There were several cars who swerved to miss so that you wouldn't hit with them, or so that the gray Honda Civic would not hit with them. So one car went off to the side, another car went and hit them. They spun out, hit the center embankment. There were several people injured there. On the other side, there was another car, several other cars who pulled over and who got into other little crashes. My car ended up hitting head-on with with a Jeep, and the guy was under the influence as well. So we went head-on together. I just remember being in so much pain. And I was telling the officer, all I remember is being at that bar, being there, hanging out with friends, drinking, and then I don't remember anything else from there. I was in that costume, like I said, and they had to cut it off once I got to the hospital. So when I found out I was under arrest, I didn't know what to think. And then when he told me that there were 4 people who were injured and 2 women were in critical condition, I just lost it. My whole life I wanted to become a nurse. That's all I wanted, to become a nurse, to help people. I just wanted to make people's lives better, to help them, to make them feel better. And this, I felt so horrible. I just wanted to die. So I had to put on some just clothes, whatever they had there for me. It was some funny Christmas sweater I should have kept for the ugly Christmas sweater parties. And some hospital pants that were huge and some tennis shoes that were huge. They just gave me whatever, and I actually walked to the car, and the officer who was with me, she didn't handcuff me right away. She handcuffed me once I got to the car, and I just remember being handcuffed and sitting in the back seat and feeling so nauseous. She had to pull over so I could vomit. She got me to the jail, and when I got to the jail, they had me put on these huge orange clothes, some sweatpants, a sweatshirt. They gave me underwear, and the underwear about this big. They gave them to me and just said, here, put these on, and some flip-flops that were just, nothing. And as I was taking off my clothes, I was trying to get privacy, and the officer said, what are you doing? So she walked in with me, closed the curtain, and there was still a gap open, so people were still walking by. I had to get completely naked. I had to spread my legs, and she had to hold a mirror under me right in the middle and look to to make sure I didn't have anything. I had to shake out my hair. I had to open my mouth for her. I had no idea what she was doing. Finally, at the end, she explained, people do bring stuff into the jail, so we just have to make sure you don't have anything that you're bringing into the jail. And so they put me in a cell, a holding cell, and there was a phone in there. And I knew that my family was kind of staying around. I just had a feeling. So the only number that I remembered was my sister's cell phone. I called my sister's cell phone and I said, hey, I'm okay. They told me that when they put me in the cell that my bail was $100,000. And I remember calling and just talking to my parents and family and just saying, leave me here. Let me rot. I don't deserve to live. I deserve to just be in jail the rest of my life for what I did. And of course, they didn't leave me there. They put up, everybody just kind of pitched in from wherever they could to bail me out for something that I did so horrible. And they bailed me out. I was able to get out of the orange clothes and put on regular clothes, and they gave me all my belongings and opened the side door, and it was the hallway to get to the main, to the entrance of the police station. So I walked out there, and it was already nighttime. The whole day had gone by. It was already night again, and my brother-in-law was right there, and I just remember falling into him, and he had his jacket and just put his jacket over me and held me, and I just kept saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We walk out, and my sister and my mom were there, and they just held me, and I said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. And I just remember them saying, you're alive. It's okay. You're alive. And I just saw my dad waiting in the car, and he came out and just held me too. And all I could say was, I'm sorry. And I could just see their faces, just disappointment. You can be mad, upset at me, but to see disappointment, oh, that's different. So we picked up some things from my house and we drove out to Modesto, came back here, and I just remember both parents just being so, just worried. What's going to happen? How is this going to affect us? What's going on? And my dad was calling a bunch of different attorneys trying to find out, what do we do? How do we get this right? What do we have to do? And we finally got in contact with an attorney in San Francisco, a DUI attorney in San Francisco, and he was looking at everything, and he said, you don't have anything on your record. He's like, you don't have anything. For this offense, you could probably get, maybe a few months in jail, and we'll probably put you at the county jail where you're at, or house arrest. Possibly we can just do, the ankle monitor. And so when I was hearing that, I was like, okay, well, I know that I did something wrong. I know I did. Okay, so what's my punishment going to be? And as the time was going on, I just kept thinking, okay, maybe a month in jail, maybe something like that, house arrest. I do need some type of punishment for something that I did, because if this would have happened to any of my family members, whoever did this to them, they are going to have some type of consequence. They can't just go free. So that Sunday was my graduation, and the people who I was out with, I was out with some of the students from my class, and none of them asked anything. None of them asked how I was. None of them asked, were you involved in that accident? And they kind of knew what was going on, but none of them asked me anything. All they were doing was there for the graduation. That's it. And I really did not want to go, but my family told me, you accomplished this. You completed the program. You did this. We need to be there at your graduation. So when I was out on bail, I was out for about 18 months. And every month I had to go to court in San Francisco. At that time, I was working at a company where I had worked before, and they knew my situation, and they hired me back on. So I was able to work here in Modesto while I was on bail. And every month, I would have to go to